Hello and good evening. Welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Inkler. Joining me in the co-host seats, as always, are our good friends, Miss Angela Rose
Hi, everyone.
and Mr. Darren Starling.
Who's that?
He's not div at the moment.
We'll see. Let's take bets. How long tonight?
I'm gonna say by the halfway point, although if we keep things entertaining, you might stay awake the whole show.
And
I'm going to say because Doug's here, it's going to be half to three quarters.
any words from Roberto back there, or is he not back there tonight?
Oh, he is back there. He's just... He waved if you didn't see that. He's playing a game.
Yeah, we did not see. He's hidden behind the books.
Yep. The way my space is set up here, you cannot see him behind the notebooks.
A good privacy block. Good privacy fence.
But a big hello to everybody who's tuning in. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. We are back. I know last weekend we took kind of a weekend off, be it with the holiday, working. Everybody had plans. So hopefully everybody had a safe and fun Memorial Day. I know I was working all weekend, which that's always fun.
I was at the convention center.
Yes, you had a convention you were at, Darren. Tell everybody a little bit about how that went.
It was kind of interesting this year. Traffic was definitely way down. It would definitely the visitor turnout was just down. That was very evident. Panels were decent. Not a whole lot as interesting as years past. Maybe I'm just not. They're either targeting older shows that I hadn't seen, or they're targeting newer shows I haven't seen, or they're getting more into the cultural aspects. But it just felt like there wasn't as much to offer this year in the grand scheme of things. But I mean, it was still a good convention, don't get me wrong, but it just, I don't know, something was off this year. And also, I'm really mad that they figured out my parking hack. They turned the deck I used into event parking, so I lost my free parking.
Boo.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. So the Hurricanes are in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and as a result, the parking for the games here have been reported on the news as high as $75 just to park, which is unusual for around here.
And you know what? The saddest thing is, I'm so used to that nonsense. And I gotta say, as much as under normal circumstances, given that Boston's not is not in the Stanley Cup Finals. If it was any other team, I'd actually root for Carolina, but it's Vegas, and that's my other go-to team. So I'm actually rooting for Vegas.
I'm rooting for Carolina because Vegas took out my Avalanche.
See, I just
plus Carolina used to be the Hartford Whalers, so
yes.
So I can still go for a New England team.
Mm-hmm.
It was and then there was the oh god, I've got to find
it was the Quebec Nordiques that turned into Colorado Avalanche.
Yes, thank you. I'm like, there was a meme about that like weeks ago.
And hello to John Knight and Chris Farkas in the chat. Great to see you. I hope you had a wonderful weekend.
But no, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just glad Montreal lost. Boston and our sports rivalries, we take them way too seriously.
Well, I'm about to say, I think every state has their
I-
rivalries.
yes, but some cities take them a little too seriously. Pennsylvania, for one. Actually, Doug, did you see the news when it was the first round when it was Philly versus Pittsburgh?
I
How
did
bad
not.
was there was talk about riots.
In Philly, there's riots whether they win or lose.
I know.
So that's why I try to avoid Philadelphia if I can. Sadly, I live like an hour and a half from Philly, so but I still try to avoid it.
But I will maintain, while we're on the topic of hockey, Gritty is the best mascot ever.
Yeah, ironically, it was this was the year that my wife decided to try to get into hockey, and she chose Philadelphia because Gritty, and we got to see a Hatsune Gritty at Zenkai Con earlier this year, which was hysterical.
Yep. You know, I am not surprised that they're doing that.
Good evening to K9G. Great to see some new faces in the chat. Welcome to Anime-Zing Radio. Hopefully you enjoy the show tonight. Our main topic tonight is we are going to be picking apart the Crunchyroll Awards, something we do every year.
Yep, we do.
Because we enjoy just giving them all the crap we can do.
Because they deserve it.
Yes, they do.
So should we jump into it?
I had a few more things that
Okay.
I wanted to do.
Go for it.
I kind of got on the hockey trend just for the fact of, like I said, I had to pay for parking this year. I mean, granted, it was $10 a day, but still. I mean, I'm sure those prices sound like a dream to y'all.
If parking was $10 for the entire day, holy shit! I don't know what the city would do because we're accustomed to
$50.
double that for an hour.
Yeah. So event parking pre-COVID was $7. Post-COVID, $10.
Here in Boston, event parking ranges from 50 to 70, depending on where the event is and which garage.
Yeah. I'm just mad I lost my free parking. That was $20 I shouldn't have had to spend. But oh well.
That is fair.
But in general, like I said, it was a decent con. Unfortunately, I did not get any photos this year, and I'm really shooting myself in the foot because the day I walked a registration to get my badge, and there was a great Akano cosplayer that walked in right behind me, and I just couldn't catch her at a good time to get a photo of her.
You should have.
I know. Hindsight is 2020.
Well, yes.
And it can be tough too because like if you're in line for registration, you kind of don't want to bother them because everybody's trying to focus on getting into the con, and then you may not see them again, which happens at larger conventions.
I will say
I was hoping to because we went into the dealer's room together, and I was kind of hoping to see her before I exited it, but unfortunately, like I said, just didn't see her again after that.
I will say, at least up here, cosplayers waiting in line at registration tend to not care. No, if you ask nice, will absolutely do photos.
Well, in general, I'm fairly certain she would have. It's just that me and the type of person I am, well, remember, I'm the quiet and reserved one of the bunch until you get to know me.
Yep. Can confirm.
And hello to Love Lil Sheena in the chat. Hello, Ross. Great to see you. Also, belated happy birthday to John Knight, who celebrated his birthday earlier this week.
Yep.
Happy belated birthday to you, sir.
In fact, it was his birthday. I did a live gaming stream earlier this week, and was lucky enough to be joined by our friend Rain, VTuber, and we sang "Happy Birthday" to him at the end of the stream.
Oh, excellent.
And what else happened with GalaxyCon? You get some good merchandise?
Animazement.
Animazement. I'm sorry. I have GalaxyCon on the brain because Animate Philadelphia, that's coming up in October, is a GalaxyCon convention, and I've been working on some projects for that con.
Well, I may have gotten a free pass into GalaxyCon, so we'll see about that. So remember how I told you I helped tear down one of the vendors almost every year?
Yes.
So they didn't have anything I really wanted this year, because by the time I got to them, they'd already started packing away a lot of stuff, and I really didn't take the time to pick anything out. So he's like, "Are you going to be around for GalaxyCon?" He said, "I may be able to get you a badge."
Oh, that would be cool.
So we'll see how that goes. He said he's gonna contact me closer to the date.
Fun times, fun times.
I'm guessing no $500 mystery bag this time.
No grab bags this time. Even though they didn't sell it this year. That and the $300 one were still on the shelf when I went by. They did not sell out like they did last year. And that's the other thing. Prices on a lot of stuff, like last year, we didn't really see it's taken a while, but the inflation pricing is really starting to become evident in some of the stuff. Like the mass-produced figures were still around the same price, but the specialty ones, oh my gosh. There were several of the DXD figures that I found that were almost double what I paid for them straight from Japan, even after shipping and customs.
Wow. Good evening, Mario. Great to see you.
Like my one figure that I had that I paid like $250, $300 for, I forget which. Without all, and now mind you, this also came with some exclusives as well when I bought it. That same figure at one of the dealers was $550 with none of the extra stuff.
Dang.
So anyway, yeah, I did not really buy a whole lot of stuff this year. Now I did this year make the decision. I did buy a couple of things. I made the decision. The stuff is not getting any cheaper. So I went ahead and completed my Game Boy Advance collection of all the Pokemon games. So I already own Sapphire and Emerald. So I found two different booths. One had a copy of Ruby that looked to be pretty good, and the other booth had Fire Red and Leaf Green. Now, mind you, when these games were new, they sold for $34.99 a piece. Guess how much these suckers were?
$100 piece.
I wish.
$250 each.
Close. So Ruby was $125. Fire Red and Leaf Green were $175 a piece. And Pokemon Emerald, I kind of want a second copy of that. Do you know how much it was just for that one? Because that's the most expensive one of the Game Boy Advance games. And now granted, this one had a new battery, but take a wild guess at what the price of just that one was. If Ruby was 125, it would, and it's the original to that game. The Emerald's the remake of it, so
I would say 180.
349.
Good God.
Yeah. So I ended up buying Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Ruby, and also they were also selling the ROM hack versions that you see some of these streamers playing. You know, these modified ones that are like insanely hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I ended up buying one of the ROM hack versions as well. That was $30. So as soon as I get my screen fixed on my Game Boy, I'm gonna be attempting that. I wish I could stream it, and I might, but I'm really curious as to how playing one of the modified versions is gonna go. And also, while I was there, I entered one of the 18 plus rooms. You know how these booths have these little hidden.
Yup.
Yeah.
So I did actually buy something out of there.
Ooh.
Now
Surprising nobody.
now it is safe because it's not it's mature. It's rated mature, but it's not hentai. I did not buy hentai. Anybody want to take a guess as to what series I bought that's close enough to it?
Super Hexeros?
Not quite. That would have been out in the regular. That would have been. I think that was actually out in the regular Blu-rays. You're close though.
Interspecies
Ross
Reviewers?
Yeah, actually, Ross DXD I owned a long time ago. But you're close with that because Interspecies Reviewers was one of the options. However, you can still buy that off Sentai Filmworks' website. So that was not the case. The one I bought was one that was currently unavailable on Sentai's website. So I was under the impression that it was no longer being distributed.
Redo of Healer, Ross says?
Yes, Redo of Healer, you are correct.
Speaking of interspecies reviewers,
Did
I
you finish
actually finished it.
Yay! What was your opinion on that one episode that
What the
I'm
bloody
guessing
heck?
I'm guessing it was the Harpy episode or the egg laying episode you're referring to.
yes.
That well, we
That-
finished it a while. We finished it at one point, and what in the heck is all I have to say to that.
It wasn't a bad show, all in
No.
all.
No.
It was an interesting premise for sure.
Now the question is, did Angela watch the first episode of Ridiculous Reincarnation yet?
Nope.
That I haven't either, so I was busy catching up on some of my other shows.
Ditto actually.
I am behind on many, so I can't say much because things have been absolutely insane for me.
I am like this weekend's episodes behind of everything.
Same.
But that's it. Like I have one episode of I think everything.
Oh, Doug.
Yeah.
I forgot. There was one other thing I got that is kind of geared toward Leanne, but you might be able to use it too.
Okay.
And this is actually for you. I tried to find some stuff for Angela, and I just couldn't find anything. Sorry, Ange. I'll try again at GalaxyCon.
It's fine.
We never expect anything. I hope you know that.
Precisely.
All right. I found something for your computer area, Doug.
All right.
Oh.
Hold on. And like I said, this is more geared toward Leanne because you like the polar opposite of her.
Ah, okay. Gotta love Albedo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I like Shell Tier better, but
Ay, ay, ay. That's one I just don't have. That's another show I started and like probably will, let's face it, we'll probably never go back to at this point.
Overlord, really?
Yeah.
there's just so much out there. It's tough to keep up with things.
Pretty much that, and honestly, the first episode was super cringe for me.
Well, yeah, the first episode was very cringe, but the storyline gets better once you get beyond.
Yeah. But not enough to keep me actually watching. Granted, I also need to go. Very nice, very nice. I also need to go back and finish Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah, that was one of the very popular topics of conversation across multiple panels. Speaking of which, there was one panel in particular that was actually kind of interesting, a little wordy, but then again, the panel that you went to with me last year, Ange,
That she did was incredibly wordy. You remember the girl that did the DxD panel, right?
Yes.
Okay, so she did a different panel this year. It was talking about hentai and the role of women in producing and writing a lot of the content for it, and how there's actually there's more of the industry that is produced and also consumed by women than what many realize. It was just kind of funny, or interesting, I should say.
That's one of those things that is a pet, like that is something I would be interested in seeing.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be a very interesting panel, actually.
Because when you think about it, Doug your isekai trash. I mean, we've had this discussion. Doug your isekai trash. We know this.
Yeah.
But that is your go. That is, well, you do watch other things. That's your go-to. That is your comfort shows. I stereotypically watch what most people would consider being the target audience would be more male than female.
Mm-hmm.
And Darren, I would argue a lot of the romances and the cute stuff that you watch, the target audience is typically women.
Mm-hmm. But yet male viewership is generally higher, at least in that particular category. It's like whatever you try to gear people towards, a lot of times it's the opposite of what your intention is. Like just like all these kids game and a lot of these kids shows, the adults become hooked on them when they're watching them with their kids.
Prime example, look at the popularity of Bluey.
Exactly.
And I choose Bluey over SpongeBob because I think Bluey is just a better overall cartoon than SpongeBob.
You know what's funny? I saw an article. I don't know how true this is, but they're about to axe a character from SpongeBob's future episodes.
Considering SpongeBob was basically written by stoners, I'm not surprised by that. Now, I never got into SpongeBob, and I think Bluey's a generation later. Therefore, I missed Bluey completely.
I would have missed it, except I have a child.
Yeah,
who was big into Bluey.
Both of my sisters watched SpongeBob when it first came out. One was the correct age for it. The other is 2 years younger than me.
SpongeBob season 1 is in a whole different class than the rest of SpongeBob, to my understanding. Like, from what I understand, SpongeBob season 1 was targeted more toward the mature audiences versus the rest of the series and how it ended up going.
That I don't know.
Me personally, I never watched it. It had a very negative connotation in my friend groups.
It was
mostly because like you kill brain cells watching it.
It was on around me. That doesn't mean I retained any of it, and the stupid humor, as we've gone over, is not for me. My baby sister, absolutely, the show overall was age appropriate for her, and my other sister, she absolutely loves the stupid humor, and they both obsessed over it.
In other convention news, if you want to get a chance to meet us all, we will be at Anki Expo in November up in Danvers, Mass. Tickets are on sale, so be sure to check out onkiexpo.com for all information. All the guests are going to be listed there. We are proud to be partnered with Anki this year, and you'll be able to see, as long, weather permitting and everything goes right, all 4 of us are expected to be at Anki Expo in November 20th through 22nd. So be sure to come up, say hi. We'd love to meet everybody. It's going to be a lot of great guests there. I'm trying to work on some stuff behind the scenes, so there could be some surprises from Anime-Zing Radio at Anki. So you'll have to stay tuned for updates and things like that.
And I will almost guarantee a homemade batch of baked goods to share with everybody who shows up.
Also, I will be at Animate Philadelphia in October, the first weekend of October. Friday, as a special treat, I will be walking around with our friend Rain, VTuber, who has joined us on the show in the past. She's good friends with Kaya, who is unable to join us tonight. Last I knew, he was up in Maine with his family, and
family takes priority.
Exactly. So, wishing him the best. And so if you want to meet me, I will be at Animate Philly all weekend. Saturday will be family time. Sunday I will be there on my own, possibly carrying a VTuber as well. Already have the okay from the convention saying that it was okay to walk around with a VTuber. We just no videos or photos in the celebrity area, so we will have to be careful of where we aim the cameras, but looking forward to that.
No, and the only convention I have left for the year other than Anki is PAX Unplugged, which will take place after that. Also in Philadelphia. Yeah, go figure.
But different venue. So shall we get into the meat and potatoes of the show?
I feel like, well, yeah, let's do it. Darren, do you have anything else you want to
add before we pick apart the Crunchyroll Awards?
Before we complain about the Crunchyroll Awards?
Other than the fact the Waifu Wars panel this year got really interesting, but I don't know if I want to say how interesting on the show, because one of the choices because remember how everybody had to pick their waifu and to basically defend them to the death?
Yeah.
One of the choices upset waifu people. Well, it caused one girl to just get her whole group to leave. But it was it was funny in the scheme of things, but at the same time, it was just it was an interesting time. but still a really great panel. And plus, one of the guys that was in the running for judges actually picked Rhea Scremery for his choice. He lost. He didn't get the nomination, but still.
Were there any Umas in the nominations?
Yeah, 2 of them.
Was Haru Urara one of them?
No. Now, I will say that someone cosplayed as Haru Urara and was in the middle of putting on one of the idol shows downstairs. I did see that. But no, I forget which Uma it was. Also, probably the highlight of the whole thing was, so apparently one of the guys that was picked, so he came in a uniform like one of those military uniforms that they use to hide their identities and whatnot. The camouflage, you know what I mean, where they hide their face.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he came in there and he came in with a giant duffel bag that said trash on the outside. And he got picked from the audience because of that, obviously, because he stood out. Well, he was a contestant that lost several years prior, and he basically was back for revenge. So he had his waifu in the duffel bag. And while it wasn't an Uma, and this is how crazy the panel gets, it was of the horse variety. Any guesses? Not anime, by the way.
Not anime?
Not anime. Horse related, not anime.
Mr. Ed? I don't know.
My Little Pony.
Oh, okay. Twilight Sparkle?
Shutterfly.
Okay, I could see that.
But it was just epic. So we had him, we had let's see, so the 6 people were him, someone picked Nico Robin, let's see, who else? Someone picked one of the Umas, I forget which one. The other one I'm not gonna say. Then the girl at the end picked Sun Jinwoo from Solo Leveling. And I'm trying to remember. Oh, and the other one, oh yeah. So one of the guys picked Bao.
VTuber Bao the Whale?
Yes. Yes.
That's funny.
Oh yeah. I know they're going to be posting the thing to their YouTube at some point, like they do every year. It just took them a while to do it. I don't know if they had to edit some stuff out, but it will be on there. And also, since this year was the beach episode, so every year at the very beginning of the panel, they pick someone in the audience to basically tell everybody what their waifu is, and then they put them in horny jail for the rest of the show.
Sounds like a very interesting panel.
Well, this year jail was under construction, so they put him in a launch in a beach chair and gave him handcuffs. They said the handcuffs are optional.
Sounds like a very crazy panel, that's for sure.
It was. I mean, the 3 guys are eccentric. I don't know how much of that panel you remember from last year.
Bits and pieces.
But anyway, yeah, great time. Great group of guys. This was their 8th year doing this panel.
Well, it sounds like you still had a good time. I know you said that there weren't as many panels that interested you as years passed, but I'm glad that you still had fun and so they're able to make some connections and chat with people. And
Yeah. The one thing though is, and me and Ange went over the schedule. There was a lot of video showings of anime that were like old, like really, really old,
Like before our time old.
like 70s and 80s, and even I think there was even a couple from the 60s.
I think that's kind of neat, though. You look back at the looking back at the history of anime and
And
see how things have changed from then to now.
and not all of it was anime. Some of it was like Japanese cultural stuff.
Still kind of interesting. I remember years ago going to a convention and one of the panels was just like old Japanese commercials and how ridiculous they were.
That was actually a panel, not necessarily old Japanese commercials, but Japanese commercials in general. So that was a panel this year, but that wasn't when I attended because it ended before I could get there. Oh yeah, and then the last one I will talk about, the guy that did Anime Fails. Um, he actually separated part of his panel, and so he split his panel into two different things because he would have a little game that he would do mid panel where basically these 18 plus figures would come out and there would be absolutely terrible descriptions, like the writers that were putting the descriptions on these things had no idea what to say, so they just went off the walls and rails on everything. He actually turned that into a whole separate panel.
That's interesting.
So basically, he would show you a picture of the figure, and then he would put the description up, and then he'd say, "Start reading when the sexy music starts."
Hmm.
It was great. I'm just glad he was able to split that into another panel. And was that it? Oh yeah, and then the one panel I participated in was anime and manga trivia, like hardcore stuff. I made it to the third level before I crashed out. Like almost, like practically no one made it to level 4 and 5. I was one question off from making it to level 4.
What
It
was
was,
the question that got you?
oh no, it was like a whole category of questions. So the first one was anime math, which was just like a wild math equation. Second one was, I forget which one I picked. It had something to do with some of the current animes or like various I forget which. And then the category that I almost made it was they would play a clip or show the key visual from the 2020. So this everything currently airing this season, I had to get 7 right. I got 6.
Ugh.
Oh,
And my time ran out. Every time you skipped, you lost time.
Yup.
Literally, if I'd have had just one more second after my skip, I would have got it because guess what the one after I skipped was?
what's that?
Dr. Stone.
Ugh.
Of course.
The one I failed on was I want to end this love game.
I did
But
just pick up a volume 12 of the Apothecary Diaries manga. That's
that
the Frog edition.
that was highlighted on in several panels across the convention as well. I think that was also in that one.
I know the show Angela's really looking forward to next season is more Misoku Tensei.
More jobless reincarnation, yes.
Why? I feel like Doug's purposely trying to get me to react.
Just do it just do it one day, and that way we can hear a proper Angela reaction.
When I get around to watching episode 1, because that's probably all you're getting from me regarding ridiculous reincarnation or whatever the heck it's called.
That's all I ask
get
is
it.
episode 1. I don't know that I'm continuing it.
That's when you'll get that reaction that y'all want. Granted, I don't know if the audience wants that.
Well,
That's
should we save it for an 18+ show?
Or should we save it for Anki?
Even better idea. But will you have the same level of rage or opinion, as strong of opinion, if you save it for Anki?
What I'll do is I'll
feel
watch
like
it.
because I feel like the initial reaction versus the reaction after you've had time to actually digest it is would end up quite different.
I feel like Angela should record herself watching it.
Or I watch it there with you two in the room.
Because Kaya and I are the only two who have actually started it. So
I'm sitting in the back of the room in a corner, out of reach.
Yeah, honestly, odds are Doug will get a pillow thrown at his head, or a plushie, or something of the like.
I was about to say, you can have one of my body pillows to throw at him.
Even better. Nothing that will actually do any damage. We are friends.
Emotional damage.
However, compensation for what you guys are making me watch must happen.
Well, okay, so I gotta ask, of the four of us, and Doug, you can answer that, who has tortured the other the most with their selections? Have I tortured you more with my recommendations that you watched? Has Doug tortured you more, or has Kaya tortured you more? And Doug, same question goes to you.
You know what? I'm going to say, overall, Doug and I disagree more. And Doug's picks, I usually won't get very far. I'll get 1 or 2 episodes in and grumble and be like, why am I watching this? But that said, the show that I disliked the most out of everything you all have suggested I watch is Aho Girl.
All right, thank you.
That said, the one show Kaya picked when we did that was actually fine. It was exactly what I expected it to be, and it felt very familiar. But I have seen stuff from Macross before, so I somewhat knew what I was getting.
Now, after she watches Ridiculous Reincarnation, that might change.
I'm expecting it to change, and looking at chat. John Knight has actually watched a fair number of my picks, which he's another person who I agree with as far as like personal taste goes in anime. So cool. And Ross says, okay, let's set it up this way. If you guys are going to make me watch Misoku Tensei and be tortured, then you guys have to watch something I recommend.
That's what we're doing.
Yes. Although
Mishoku Tensei really hasn't been all that bad, in all honesty.
It's just a stupid isekai.
It gets a little bit deeper than just a stupid isekai.
I don't like the genre.
I know you
As
don't
a
like the
whole.
genre, but even you said that there are some exceptions to the rule.
There are. They're very
Mhm.
few and far between, and as we've already determined, good art, and a banging soundtrack and score cannot make up for mediocre and bad writing.
Season 2 of that was still so much better than season 1. I know exactly what show you're talking about.
Yep, because
Uh-huh.
everything else you said about the show was spot on. The art was gorgeous.
See, we never promoted the story. We just promoted the art and the music.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and a bad story is a deal breaker for me. And characters that I cannot find any kind of redeeming quality.
So, Doug, I pose the same question to you. Which of us has scarred you the most?
When we each chose one episode for each other to watch, I would have to say it was you, Darren.
I win the two of y'all. Now I gotta get Kaya's pick. So
See-
I'm 2 for 2.
And the irony is, that was my favorite out of all of the rest of your picks.
Like, Darren's pick was the only one I wouldn't consider watching more of. Angela's, I thought about continuing.
I did make you guys watch Psychopaths.
Yes, you did.
Yep.
Now, of course, what I chose, you kind of were like, yeah, that's very much a Doug show.
It was not terrible. It was very much not for me. And I could say the same about the one Leanne picked.
But when we do this again, I'm trying to figure out which way I want to go. Do I want to go serious? Do I want to go goofy? Do I want to torture like Darren did?
I think I legitimately went with just one I didn't think anybody would hate.
That's what I went with, was one I didn't think anyone would hate. And
But-
Kaya, I know, enjoyed it so much. He finished the first season. I think he was supposed to start.
And I was out for blood.
I will probably just continue the trend of way out there makes you think.
But don't do that. My head hurts enough as it is.
Either that or I'll make you watch Chainsaw Man. I don't know.
I'll make you watch Bento.
Okay, I'll make y'all watch. Let's see, which one should I do? I could do Flip Flappers.
What do you think, Darren? Bento or gonna be the Twin Tail?
Bento, because Twin Tail was not exciting to me. Oh, maybe here's one.
Keijo?
Kiss Kiss.
No. I've seen enough of Keijo through friends. And Ross says, my picks have never steered y'all wrong. Ross, you do love your romances, and I will actually agree the ones I've actually sat down and watched, I've enjoyed. And this is more for me than anybody else, but John Knight says, Kaiju 8 has announced original short anime Narumi's Week at Work coming this fall. Kaiju 8, fantastic. That was such a good show.
Oh my god.
And now that we're at the halfway point of the show, now for the moment you've all been waiting for.
Let's make fun of Crunchyroll. Darren's favorite pastime.
Yes, because I mean they write it for themselves.
Let's
And
be
by
honest,
the way, Pardon me a minute. I gotta go save Boss Lady, so I'm switching to mobile. I will comment as I can.
All right.
She is blowing my phone up right now.
All right.
Go deal with Boss Lady. We understand. And I will use this to just rant about award shows in general, not just Crunchy. Because let's be real, award shows as a whole are nothing more than nothing more than who put out the best marketing campaign and who spent the most money
Pretty much.
on said marketing, or a giant popularity contest.
So, looking at the 2026 winners, and I gotta hit the right tab here. Here we go. So, you can jump to specific categories or whatnot. We are just going to scroll down. Anime of the Year, My Hero Academia.
And
final season.
Now, I watched the final season of My Hero. There's only one other show on that list that I watched. And I would honestly argue that My Hero is one who didn't deserve to win.
My vote went for Apothecary Diaries because that was the only show I watched on there. My wife was huge on Gachiakata, saying that was a fantastic show.
I've heard good things about that one. Dandadan, I've been meaning to watch. That's another one that I meant to watch and just forgot about. And while we're on the topic of Crunchyroll, according to Ross, thank you for sharing, the Crunchyroll is ending their affiliate program for their store. Oy. But yeah.
Lots of stuff happening with Crunchyroll lately.
Yep. Like I said, My Hero final season was good. It was a nice ending. But I don't really necessarily think it deserves Anime of the Year.
I'm sorry, which one got Anime of the Year?
My Hero final season.
I totally disagree.
Yeah, I watched it. I enjoyed it. I disagree.
I did not watch it. Like I said before, I dropped out of the My Hero phase about halfway through season 4.
And I maintain the villain arc was quite good.
And I can agree to that, even though I haven't seen it. I like I said, as a whole, I enjoyed the villains more than I did our protagonists.
Yeah, and but
I think Toko is like my favorite character of the whole show. She just that psychopathic little like schoolgirl out for blood.
And
literally.
And she actually got a character arc during she got her story during the villain arc. But,
and the fact that she got tied to a main character in a major way per se was interesting. Even though I haven't seen the show, I know the end result of that.
And that's actually something that comes back literally at the very, very end.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna spoil.
I heard that the author changed the ending at the behest of many of the readers in terms of certain things, but a lot. So you had a split crowd, people that were mad that he did that, and the other crowd that was happy that he did that, which has actually recently become a whole thing in Japan. Japan is at war per se with the fans because people have been interjecting their opinions of that the creators should focus more on what the fans want, and many of the creators are firing back saying no, we're focusing on our original intended audience, not the West.
Writers should write what they want to write, not and
not succumb to the fandoms, pressuring them. Which I know a lot of stuff on social media has been.
I mean,
insane.
Yeah, but let's keep going with this because otherwise we're just going to keep going down rabbit holes.
That's the whole point of this show, though.
Up next, we have Film of the Year, which went to Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle.
Now, to my understanding, there was a lot of people, quote unquote, upset that it beat out AZR.
That's one of those meh.
I mean, you watched the Chainsaw Man movie. What was your opinion on it?
I didn't watch the movie. I've only seen season 1.
You haven't? Oh, yeah. Well, I haven't seen AZR yet myself, but at the same time, that's one that I'm definitely going to watch.
Yeah, no, I've been. It's one of those.
I thought you went to theaters to see it. My bad.
No, I missed it. Actually, if I'm not, that might have been our local theaters had it while we were away. And it's one of those. Yeah, I should. I wonder if it's on Crunchy.
It probably is.
Because I'll check that tomorrow, but
I did not watch any of these movies, so I couldn't really give a honest opinion.
Same. Yes.
Same. Anime movies are one of those things where unless it's a series I'm watching, it's something I gotta force myself to watch many times than not. The only two exceptions to that were Your Name and what was the other one?
See, for me, it's Ghibli.
You need to watch Kakegurui if that's the case.
Your Name, ironically enough, is one I've been told I need to watch.
Ross says it is on Crunchyroll, talking about Demon Slayer movie or Chainsaw Man movie.
Because husband just said it wasn't, which means it must have gone up recently. And
they don't do that usually. Usually it would come up as the next season.
But yeah, no, I have not seen any of these movies, therefore can't argue with this one.
Next up is Best Continuing Series. Winner went to One Piece, beating out My Hero Final Season, Kaiju number 8 Season 2, Dan Dan Season 2, Solo Leveling Season 2, and Spy Family Season 3.
You know what? I can actually agree with that one to a point.
About to say you go.
I have not seen most of this stuff. I only saw Spy Family Season 3, and I will say that school bus arc was fantastic.
Kaiju 8 is fantastic. My Hero, the final season was good. Spy Family Season 3 was fantastic.
You can't go wrong with Anya.
No. And honestly, when they do the redo of One Piece, I'll probably actually watch it.
Next up, we have Best New Series, which went to Gachi Yakata which I saw the first episode. It's an interesting concept. It just wasn't for me. But I know my wife absolutely loved the show. I know a lot of people enjoyed it. I have not seen any of the others, but with the amount of praise I've heard of Gachiakata, I could understand why it got it.
I am disappointed Sakamoto Days didn't get it. Because Sakamoto Days was so much fun.
Most definitely.
But that's the only one on this list that I've seen.
What are the others?
Clevatis, which I believe is a villainous anime. Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, which I know is a romance.
Yes. Okay. Honestly, that would have been my pick.
Sakamoto, Gachakuda.
Oh, the summer Hikaru died.
The summer Hikaru died, and Takopi's Original Sin.
Okay, I heard great things about Takopi's Original Sin. It's only 6 episodes, but they said like it was really well worth the watch. To my knowledge, that would be something you would like, Angela.
Most like honestly, from the looks of it, there's only one on this list that I have zero interest in from the get-go. I suspect at least a couple will fall under the that's not for me. But meh. Thank you and Ross, thank you for letting us know that it is up there because it just got added to our watch list. Credit where credit is due.
Up next, we have the Best Original Anime, which went to Lazarus.
Yes.
That beat out Apocalypse Hotel, Digimon Beat Break, Mobile Suit Gundam, Moonrise, and Zenshu.
I didn't watch Lazarus. It is on my watch list. It was done by the same people that did Cowboy Bebop.
You can tell that by the art style just looking at them. You said Cowboy Bebop. I went, yeah, I can see that.
Yep. This is one we were super hyped for, and then just it came at a bad time, and we have yet to go back and watch it. Looking at the rest of this, Digimon Beat Break is fine. Zenshu was amazing. Like you want. There's your perfect example of an isekai for me. Gundam is Gundam. And I know nothing about Apocalypse Hotel or Moonrise.
I did not see any of them, so. Next category, Best Animation. Which that went to Solo Leveling Season 2. That beat out Dan to Dan Season 2, Gachiakata, My Hero, One Piece, and Takapi.
Honestly, I don't know. That image, that's a pretty good image.
Yeah, if the animation, like the whole show's animation looks as good as just that image does, then I could see why.
Solo Leveling is a not for me show.
Same.
All right. I will chime in when I can. Give me a minute.
Not a problem. I'll mute you for now. Oh, he muted himself.
Yep.
Okay. Next category. Best Character Design goes to Gachiakata. Beating out Apothecary Diaries, Dan to Dan, My Dress Up Darling Season 2, One Piece, and Takapi.
Depending on how we're defining character design, I would argue that should have gone to either Dress Up Darling or Apothecary Diaries.
I would have given it to Apothecary Diaries, and just based off of my opinion, because of and it could be just the biased opinion of how much I really enjoy the show. I think when you combine the outfits with the characters, the different time frame, the different culture that Apothecary Diaries represent over some of these other shows, I think that gave it, in my opinion, a little bit of an advantage.
I would, while I'm not going to disagree, I will say Ross in the chat says it should have been Dress Up Darling. But I will play devil's advocate for a moment and say that with Dress Up Darling specifically, you not only get the characters in everyday life, but you also get the characters in their like the designs of them in their costumes in the video game world,
True,
etc., etc.
And My Dress Up Darling also does a good job at giving the Western audience a more in-depth glimpse of just how much cosplay is taken seriously in Japan and how like cutthroat it is. Which I think, and we hear about cosplay in the States can be a toxic thing. I feel like it could be 10 times worse with how in depth they get for every minute detail. I think it was I don't know if it was a press conference or a panel with Baby Beard, but I remember Lady Beard talking about how the culture in Japan, they are so in depth when it comes to their cosplay that everything has to be perfect.
Yes, that is accurate.
And that's something that, as a lot of, now we have, not taking anything away from the American cosplayers, because there are some fantastic and people who work very, very hard on their costumes. But I know, like, for me personally, there's been times when I just threw something on and was like, oh, look, I'm this. And it's just kind of like a half-assed attempt. How many times do we go to a convention, you see somebody in a Pokemon Kigu, and that's their cosplay?
I mean, there's the cat. It's agreed. There's so much I want to say, but I don't have the words at the moment, so I'm just gonna leave it at that.
So we'll continue on to the next category. Best Director. Akinori Fudesaka from Apothecary Diary Season 2. Which Season 2 was fantastic. Absolutely loved Season 2.
Agreed.
And like I mentioned earlier, I got Volume 12 of the manga, which we got up to the frog episode.
And it looks like, and case in point, the point I was driving at earlier, like when we started this, for the most part, it looks like the same shows are getting nominated for literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, how many times have we seen
Gachiakata,
Dan, My Hero, Summer Hikaru Died, Takapi.
Apothecary's been in quite a few.
Yeah.
Best background art goes to Gachiakata, beating out Apothecary. City the Animation, I think that's the first time we've seen that up there.
There's yeah. Dan.
Kalan Generic Romance. That's the first time we've seen that.
Yeah. And Summer Hikaru Died.
So a couple of new ones there. I almost feel like they throw some random stuff in. Like My Dress Up Darling was in 1 or 2 categories. I feel like we'll just throw that in there so it's not the same 6 shows.
I also feel like Dress Up Darling was good but I digress.
Dress Up Darling was a good series. I enjoyed Season 2. And I know it's controversial opinion, but I feel like the romance developed better in Call of the Night Season 2 than it did in My Dress Up Darling.
And see, for background art, Apothecary Diaries had so much world building and so much detail that went into the The inner court, the outer court, the houses, the different houses,
The whole
and
different
then
the whole different landscape when they moved on and they were in that
yeah,
outside area in the mountains and the snow, and
yep,
like there was so much
exactly. There was
more
so
there.
much, and hence why I can agree with it being on this list.
I
And
feel that
Ross,
should have given it the win, but
I'm agreeing. I've said award shows
we
are rigged. We're not disagreeing with that.
no, we're just kind of looking through and picking apart, the popularity contest. It's like high school, the most popular
Yeah.
kids win the awards.
Yep.
Best romance anime. So this one's right up your category, Ross, with Fragrant Flower gets best romance.
And Honey Lemon Soda was. I didn't even finish it. I think I got 4 episodes in before deciding it was garbage.
I didn't finish it either.
So the fact that that's on this list really kind of makes me question a lot of things.
Is there even romance in Dan to Dan?
Never seen it, don't know.
I don't know. I hear Dan to Dan. I don't think romance for whatever reason. I think of like action or things of that nature.
And Ranma half I question, but again,
I can kind of see it with Ranma half season 2 with you can see stuff developing. My Dress Up Darling did have some romance to it, but from everything I've heard, I feel like Fragrant Flower deserved the win.
No, I'm not going to disagree with that one. I'm questioning more why are some of these other ones included? Dress Up Darling, though, it did have the romance. Yes, it was, but also at the same time, it's very accurately high school.
Yeah. And when you look at it from an adult standpoint, it's very much cringe because people in your past who went through the exact same thing that you're watching these people go through.
And maybe you went through it.
Maybe.
I did go through a lot of that.
Okay, that one deserved it.
Yeah, no, we're not disagreeing. We're picking apart other things. We're picking apart the inclusion of Dan to Dan in general, and Honey Lemon Soda was not a good show.
Honey Lemon Soda was trash. I will just come out and say it.
I'm trying.
It was okay at best.
I was trying to be some level of.
I will just come out and say it was shit.
I was trying not to say that. All right. And from Ross, who arguably is more an expert than either of us, Fragrant Flower and Dress Up Darling are the only romance. Everything else is just comedy core. And Honey Lemon I didn't see because it's more of a coming of age. But
best comedy anime is the next category.
And Blue Box is apparently from 2024.
That was probably one that started in 2024, ended in like January 2025 or something, which is why they put it on. It might have missed the awards last year, which I know sometimes they do that. They did that with Frieren when they didn't include Frieren in the awards when it first came out because it was right at that cutoff of choosing nominees. So they included it the year after. This could be a case of that. I'm not saying that for sure, but I know that's what Crunchyroll has done in the past when it comes to their awards. So
yeah, well, best comedy. Let's see what they have
Dan
on
to Dan, season 2 for best comedy. I've never seen Dan to Dan, so I don't know if it's a comedy or not. It beat out City the Animation, Dress Up Darling season 2, Ranma 1/2 season 2, Spy Family 3, and Witch Watch.
I would argue Dress Up Darling is not a comedy.
I would argue it's not a comedy as well. Ranma definitely is a comedy. Spy Family has
Spy Family is
a lot
more.
of comedic moments.
Spy Family is comedic enough to be on this list.
Dress Up Darling, not so much.
Dress Up Darling, no. Witch Watch, never seen. City of the Animation, never heard of until earlier on in this segment. Dios mío.
So we will continue on. Best Action Anime, Solo Leveling, Season 2. It beats out One Piece, My Hero, Kaiju 8, Gachiakada, and Dandadan. Hey, look, it's the same 6 shows.
I would argue if we're going with just the final season of My Hero, I would argue that one was more. The final season was less action than previous seasons and more the the
Tie up.
In literary terms, denouement, the final expositions, the wrap up, all the loose ends getting taken care of. Kaiju 8, I feel like probably deserved it, but One Piece is One Piece is yeah,
One Piece is One Piece is One Piece.
pretty much.
Up next, Best Isekai. So Angela's favorite category. She's like, shut up. Winner went to ReZero.
My favorite isekai is on this list and should have won.
Zenshu?
Yes. Zenshu was such a good anime.
Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill. That was pretty decent. Konosuba Season 3 was really good. I did enjoy that. I like some of the things that went on in that. ReZero. I couldn't get into Season 2, so there's no way I was going to watch Season 3. Even though I will still say Amelia's best girl.
And Twisted Wonderland.
And Bureaucrat to Villainous, that was actually kind of entertaining. It was an interesting spin on the villainous world. I never finished it, though. The wife and I had started it because it looked absolutely absurd. But we never finished it. Best Drama goes to Apothecary Diary Season 2. I think that's one we can agree was a deserving.
Yes.
It beat out Togepi, Summer Hikaru died, Orb. That's the first time I think we've seen Orb in here.
Yep.
And Shirley.
And Shirley was fantastic. It was definitely not as good as Apothecary Diaries.
Apothecary Diaries is just one of those shows I feel is good for anybody. Yes.
And Shirley is definitely, you can tell it's an adaptation. I read all the books as a young child. So, and it's very much, it is a coming of age story. It's a really well done anime. But it is not on the same playing field as Apothecary Diaries.
Yeah. Best Slice of Life anime went to Spy Family Season 3.
And I would argue,
beating out Anne Shirley, Blue Box, City, Fragrant Flower, and Dress Up Darling.
This is the one where I would argue Anne Shirley. Anne Shirley would be more of a slice of life, per se.
Yeah, I would almost consider Dress Up Darling a more slice of life than Spy Family, but
exactly. I would argue, don't get me wrong, Spy Family was awesome, but I would argue that is not. It is a lot of things. I don't know that slice of life is accurate, or at least that's not what I think of when I think of slice of life. And Ross says he would have picked Fragrant Flower for this one. Now, from this list, I probably would have picked Anne Shirley. But
you knew Spy Family had to win something.
yeah.
Best main character. Mao Mao gets the win. She beats out Deku from My Hero, Momo and Okarun from Dan to Dan, Rudo from Gachiakata, and Sung Jin Woo from Solo Leveling.
And
let's
I want to address Ross's comment about Anne Shirley, because there's been so many different adaptations of that. There was a live action. I don't know if it's US or Canada that produced it back in the 80s. There's another one that Netflix produced in the middle 2000s. So you're not wrong that it's not. I wouldn't necessarily call it a reboot because it's just a very different they're all taking the books and doing their own spin. So it's not necessarily a reboot, just a different adaptation. And Mao Mao was a fantastic character. Deku, we've agreed. Deku is arguably one of the weaker characters overall in My Hero. The final season, he does get his growth arc, but yeah. And I've not seen any of the other shows, so I can't argue.
I mean, Mao Mao is just one of those really fantastic like main characters. She has her strengths, but it's not like an overpowering strength. She's one of those rare main characters that has a strength, but also has a softness to her, which keeps her very realistic. And I think one reason why people love the character so much is because she's very relatable. And the aspect of she's smart yet naive at the same time, and we all know people like that. In fact, we all have probably been that way at some point in our lives.
And she doesn't necessarily understand why no one else thinks like her.
Mm-hmm.
But
and we all know people like that.
Yep.
Why I like this. Why doesn't other people think like this? Why don't other people like this show? Or something like that.
Yep. But then again, we just pick on each other for liking overrated crap.
Pretty much. And then we all like, Apothecary Diaries.
Yep.
Which I bet, a lot of people would say that's an overrated show. Which it could be.
Arguably fair.
I would not argue the fact that if somebody wanted to say Apothecary Diaries was overrated, especially where I come out here and say My Hero, Demon Slayer, stuff like that's overrated.
And
I've never said that they were bad. I've just said overrated.
And
I like your comment, John. I'm not going to repeat it. But he is.
I purposely ignored it for that reason. Because we've gone down that rabbit hole many times.
Best supporting character, Kitsaki Bakugo. My Hero gets the win for best supporting character. Beating out Injin from Gachiakata, Jin Inoji from Dan to Dan, Jinshi from Apothecary, Lulan or Sishui in Apothecary, and Turbo Granny in Dan to Dan.
My argument here, Jinshi is not a supporting character.
But Shishui is. And
yes.
Of the characters listed there, I think when I voted for Sishui because I really liked the turn that happened with that character.
Based on this list, I actually agree with Bakugo getting it. In argument could be made the same argument that he's closer to a main character.
Put him up there with a Jinshi level.
Yes. However, in certain seasons, he was definitely a supporting character.
But was he a supporting character in the final season? That's the ultimate thing. Because it's
Right.
I think we're looking at it as a series as a whole, but this is supposed to be just the final season. Was he more of a supporting character or more of a main character?
And in season 2 of Apothecary Diaries, my argument is Jinshi is not a support character.
No, he kind of took on a main role with Mao Mao.
Bakugo, for the majority,
with some of the shit that happened.
Bakugo was a support character for most of the final season.
So
I would argue he deserved it.
Yeah. I mean, looking at it that way, I would agree that, you know, if he did that good of a role, then yeah, I agree he would deserve it.
But then again, for the final season, yeah, moving on.
Must protect at all costs for like the third year in a row. I think it's third year in a row. Anya Forager from Spy Family. Yeah, Anya beats out Deku, Kakuro Wagari from Fragrant Flower, Mao Mao, who the only person you need to protect her from is herself,
or
Soka,
Jinshi,
or Jinshi, Soka, Dr. Stone, or Takabi.
That's one of those. And Ross says he would have put Wagari. I disagree with Mao Mao being on this list.
Yeah, I think we said it when we first went through this list, talking about what we would pick, that Mao Mao did not need to be on this list. I'm sure there was other people who deserved to be on it more. But I think Mao Mao falls into that category that people look at and say must protect because they don't consider her a waifu.
And Ross says it. Anya, you don't need to protect because she's the one causing trouble. Not wrong, but Anya's just so adorable.
You want to protect her just because she's so damn cute,
but
and she's so lovable, even though she causes 90% of the issues she gets into. Best song winner Iris Out from Chainsaw Man Rise arc. I'm not going to lie, when I went to put my votes in, I went and listened to every one of these songs. I think I put In Bloom just because Apothecary Diaries I had seen.
I don't recognize that song. I know that one of the cores for season 2, the opening song is Ms. Green Apple, which is a band I really like.
Was that the da-na-na-na-na,
No,
because that one I absolutely loved.
I believe it was part 2.
But Chainsaw Man beat out Apothecary Diaries
itself
with Jane Doe, Dan, Solo Leveling, and Witch Watch.
Doug, I'll send you a link to my anime playlist from Spotify. That's there that has all the anime songs that I've put on a playlist.
Okay.
There are two from Apothecary Diaries, one from season 1 and one from season 2.
How much Creepy Nuts is on there?
Only one song.
And it's probably not my favorite song.
It's the one from Mashal, so deal with it.
It's okay. Like my favorite song from them is the ending song from season 1 of the show that you didn't like.
Yeah. No, and I have songs on there I have one from Lisa, one from it's all over.
Lisa's really good.
Yes.
I I wish I
Wait.
could have gone to her concert when she performed at Anime Boston.
I didn't either. I had the I had the invite to go. I opted out because I didn't know enough of her music at the time. Saw the
Same.
line. Saw the line. My friend had a handicap badge and got a +1, and she asked me if I wanted it, and I went, if you know someone who's looking at that line, if you know someone that's more of a fan, take them, because I feel bad.
Up next is Best Anime Score, going to Demon Slayer, beating out Apothecary Diary Season 2, Chainsaw Man, Movie Arc, Dan to Dan, Gachiakata, and Solo Leveling. So for Best Score, it's music as a whole throughout the entire series, not just an opening or ending song. It also includes the music that happens during the shows.
And yeah.
Best Opening Sequence goes to Dan to Dan, beating out Gachiakata Mirage by Creepy Nuts for Call of the Night. Hey, look, they actually included a Sentai Filmworks title in there, and it's always Call of the Night that gets included. Isn't that ironic? Dan to Dan, Solo Leveling, My Hero, and Witch Watch. So one thing about these Crunchyroll Awards, 99% of the nominees are always Crunchyroll titles. You very rarely will see a show that is not licensed by Crunchyroll in these awards.
Isn't Dan to Dan? Is that a Crunchy or is that a?
You can find that on Crunchy.
Fair enough. For whatever reason, I thought that one was a High Dive.
No, Dan to Dan, I believe, is Crunchy. Yep.
Fair enough.
Dan to Dan is a Crunchy. I just typed in Dan and it popped right up. I'm like, okay.
Let's go to the endings.
Ending sequence goes to My Hero, final season.
Bump of Chicken is fun.
I buy Bump of Chicken. That beats out Dan to Dan, Kaiju 8, Spy Family, Dress Up Darling, and Solo Leveling.
I will say the One Republic did the endings for both seasons of Kaiju 8, and those are both very good songs.
Best Anime Voice Performance Japanese. Aoyuki for Mamao gets the win. Beating out Summer of Hikaru Died, My Hero, Chainsaw, One Piece, and Chainsaw again. So Denji and Reze.
And Monkey D. Luffy.
And Monkey D. Luffy got beaten out by Mama, which, having watched Apothecary Diaries in Japanese and in English, they killed it in both.
I will 100% agree. I've actually... Yeah, no.
I know you're not a big English dub fan, but Emmy Lowe did a phenomenal job as Mamao.
I am not. I prefer there are shows I prefer watching subtitled. Honestly, I think it is because of how my brain functions. Because if I'm watching in English, then I pay less attention and I miss things.
And it's interesting because I remember watching Apothecary Diaries season 2 in Japanese as it was airing with the subtitles, and then going back and rewatching a lot of it in English and going, crap, I missed that the first time through.
Yeah. If I'm watching it subtitled, I actually do I pay more attention because I read the subtitles. But I digress.
And then we have Arabic. So Sakamoto Days got that for Arabic. I'm not going to try to pronounce some of these names because I butcher stuff on a regular basis anyway.
You know what? Let's just go through the nominee. Sakamoto Days finally wins something but it beat out Lloyd Forger's voice actor, childhood Lloyd Forger, for Spy Family Season 3.
Mashimo from Sakamoto Days.
Sakamoto Days. Yuri Breyer from Spy Family.
Your Forger from Spy Family.
Yeah, it was all Spy Family and Sakamoto Days, and cool.
And Sakamoto Days won. It was 3 and 3.
But how many? But how many? I'm actually legitimately curious. How many anime were dubbed in Arabic?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
And the next one up is Brazilian Portuguese, and same question applies. Granted, this one we're not seeing
two shows. There's actually 6 different shows represented here.
However, at least one of them is. I don't know if that's new. Attack
on Titan, Last Attack.
I don't know if that's new or if that's just that dub. Demon Slayer movie, Gachiyakura, My Hero, Apothecary Diaries, specifically Bakugo from My Hero, Mao Mao for Apothecary Diaries, and Son Goku for Dragon Ball Daima. But how many anime out of everything gets dubbed in these different languages?
Yeah, that is a good question. Castilian Spanish.
Rudo from the winner was
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer. Nominees include Rudo from Gachiyakura, Reze from Chainsaw Man, Okarun from Dan Dan Dan, Nami from One Piece, and Wagari from Fragrant Flower.
Mamo not on that list.
No.
English went to
female best. Yeah.
So best voice actress or best voice actor or voice artist performance English ended up going to Lucian Dodge for Azaka in Demon Slayer, beating out Alexis Tipton as Reze, Emmy Lowe as Mao Mao, who I voted for Emmy, Justin Briner as Deku, Morgan Berry, and there's a new title, Sanda.
And Paul Castro Jr. as Hikaru Indu in The Summer Hikaru Died.
Which Apothecary Diaries was the only one, in all honesty, I'd seen on that. But I know of Justin Briner's work as Deku, having watched earlier seasons of My Hero. I'm just not a Deku fan.
No, and you know what?
And it's not taking anything away from Justin Briner. In fact, probably his performance as Deku is so good, it's why I don't like him.
Arguably, I know I saw one of the movies dubbed, which I assume is the same cast. And subsequently and it was fine. Like, I will say, when you watch an entire show subtitled, watching one of the movies dubbed, that's a very jarring experience going from one to the other. But I digress. And
then we go into French, which goes to Deku. We have German.
I was going to say, are we going to go through the nominations for French?
Oh, we can.
Gachiyakura, Witch Watch, Chainsaw Man. Yeah, the same shows. But
German, Demon Slayer takes it. Detective Conan, there's a new one.
Yep.
Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, that's another new one.
Yes, but I don't remember. I think that was another one that was released too late to go on last year's awards.
Yeah.
I could be
Chainsaw Man,
mistaken.
Gachiaku, and Witch Watch also on the list. Then we have Hindi, which that went to Jinshi, got an award. Beating out Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man, Spy Family, Solo Leveling, and a Wild Last boss appeared.
And, for some of these languages, I really want to know, like Spanish and French, I assume everything gets translated into, or a lot. The Arabic, the Hindi, the German, that's the Brazilian Portuguese.
Italian.
Boruto is on this list for nominees. Kaiju 8, more Chainsaw Man, more My Hero.
More
It's always
Dan.
Deku. It's always Deku. What the hell?
And Mau Mau. Latin Spanish. It went to the winner goes to Demon Slayer, beating out Mau Mau from Apothecary Diaries, Gachiakada. Marin Kitagawa, it's the first mention we've seen of her name in any of the voice performances for Dress Up Darling. Solo Leveling, and Chainsaw Man. And I think that is it. So that was your award winners from the Crunchyroll Awards 2026. The typical, okay, we know the popular shows. We know they're going to be nominated for 500 categories. I know you had mentioned in group chat about, do we ever think about doing an awards show for AZR? I don't know what we would like vote on. Would it be stuff AZR related or the animes that we watch?
I don't know. I tossed that out there as a silly, fun idea because we bitch about the award. We bitch about the awards every year.
We do. We always pick on something having to do with the award stuff. And we're not quite as cool as Trash Taste to be able to host our own awards shows.
Oy.
But yeah, we do have fun with this stuff, and I will not be around Sunday, like I mentioned earlier. I have to work and go out that day, and I doubt I will be at the hotel before showtime would start. There's a chance I could join at some point if Angela and Darren are still on the air, depending on what time I arrive in Altoona. But the craziness of my schedule. And John Knight says, can you believe it's the last day of May?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I got nothing.
This year is going by quick.
Yep.
That being said about me not being here on Sunday, I may stream at some point during the week, playing doing some gaming and stuff. I've been having fun playing Stardew Valley on stream. It's just been very relaxing, BSing. Every now and then I'll find friends that come on and hang out while we're playing. I know during the week, a lot of times it's tough for you, Ange, because you have a lot going on, depending on the day.
Yep. And apparently Father's Day this year falls on the actual first day of summer.
I am curious to see if I will be home on Father's Day, or if if the stuff in this household will have to be pushed either before or after. Just because my schedule is so all over the place. That's the tough thing about railroad life is you never know when. Like the way that the schedule works, I only find out Saturdays at 5 p.m. what I'm working the following Monday. So 5:15 yesterday, I found out what I'm working tomorrow.
Yeah, nope. I do like my regular schedule. I get up in the go to work 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And then Friday I work until 1:30.
Although we did do some crazy stuff this week. Like I had mentioned before, I had Tuesday off for it was my last vacation day. Had to have the youngest cat brought to the vet so she could get fixed. Thank you, Pennsylvania State Lottery, for fixing my car and my cat. As weird as that sounds, I had some luck with multiple $500 winning scratch tickets that helped aid in fixing an exhaust leak on the car and having my cat spayed. We also picked up a new game for the Switch, Tamagotchi Life, which I know a lot of people have been playing. I don't know if I'm going to stream that or not because of how bad I have been on my island.
Do you have a Switch 2 or no?
We did buy a Switch 2. My wife has been addicted to Pokemon Picopia.
Her and everybody else.
And it isn't. I have played it a little bit when I'm home. Like we agree that when I'm home, I have first choice of if I want to play on the Switch 2 or if I want to play, because Tamagotchi Life is for the Switch. We thought it was Switch 2 exclusive, and it's not. So I've been playing Tamagotchi. I've got 12 characters on my island. I think like half of them are VTubers. And then I have myself, my wife, Mau Mau, Freerin, Sebastian from Black Butler. Just because I'm trying to come up with like some fictional characters to put on there, and the conversations. I wanted to see how bad you could get with this game, and anything goes. So that's one reason why I'm like, I'm not gonna put. I may not stream mine per se.
Oh, put one of my D&D characters on there.
Send me information and a picture, and I can try. This is how outrageous it has become. On my island, I have married Freerin and have had a kid with Freerin now. And Akio has moved in with me, Freerin.
And in sports news, the Razorbacks lost in regionals to Kansas. And this is coming from Ross, so I wish I knew what sport this was.
I'm guessing college something. And I just realized, too, there's a NASCAR race on right now.
You know what?
And
I could argue NASCAR is overrated.
Oh, I agree.
College baseball. Here's a question for you. Speaking of NASCAR, did you see that Kyle Busch passed away?
Yes, very, very shocked. And I brought this up when I was playing the game on Wednesday. I was not a Kyle Busch fan. Most of his career, I couldn't stand Kyle Busch. I did not like how he drove. I did not like his attitude. I thought that he was a prima donna prissy bitch for a lot of his early career.
I was going to say, so the second coming of Dale Earnhardt?
I think, in my opinion, I think he was worse than Earnhardt with some of the stuff he did. There was a race in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series where Kyle Busch got tangled up with another driver. Under caution, intentionally put both of them into the wall, but ending both their days. Which NASCAR then parked him for the weekend. Mind you, he was scheduled to run in the Nationwide Series race the following day and the Cup Series race, and because of his actions, he got parked and could not race in any of the 3 events because he just lost his mind and went after somebody.
I
And
haven't
at that
watched.
point, I lost respect for him. But
I
I
have
never
not.
want to see anybody die.
No, and I haven't watched NASCAR in a very long time, and I know that name.
I will say, after he left Gibbs and went to Childress, and when he wasn't winning a ton and was struggling, and you could actually kind of see like a human side to him with the frustration of, I know I can do better and I just am not capable of. I did start to, I'm not going to say I became a fan of his, but I hated him less.
And Ross says before the show ends, he wants to let us know that he's seeing Scary Movie 6 on Thursday.
Oh, sweet.
Ross,
I hope you
you
enjoy it.
have to let us know how it is.
It is one movie. It is one of the rare movies that I told my wife that I would consider going to see. I'm not a scary movie person, but knowing that that is basically the Spaceballs to Star Wars,
It is the Scary Movie franchise.
I have
They're
enjoyed
parodies
the
of they're parodies of the current horror movies.
Yeah, they're comedic parodies.
Yes.
So, and I like good comedy and questionable comedy to some people's eyes.
I'm picky about comedy, and I know this.
Oh, Brad Williams was another person I put on my island. The little person comedian.
John Knight says he finally got to see Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Yeah, we up here going to the movies is so expensive that we decided to wait on Mandalorian until it hits Disney Plus without a paywall.
I am going to post a link in chat for those of you interested. Our friend Rain is making her singing debut at a concert for a charity event that is going on. It started at 8, so I've had it up in the background. I have not listened to any of the singers, but I know she's going to be coming up towards the end of the stream in a group collab. And if you want to support Rain, if you want to support the charity, please do so. I'm posting it in all chats. So feel free to check them out. It says Your Sound Matters. It's featuring 100 VTubers. And this says donate to the Camino Wellbeing and Mental Health, which we know a lot of people in the anime VTuber community deal with, mental health issues in some way, shape, or form. A lot of introverts, and there's a lot of people, especially in the VTuber, that deal with a lot of medical issues that prevent them from being able to do a lot of things. So if you can donate or if you want to support the charity, please do so. Obviously, it's going to a good cause. They've currently raised $2,600 of a goal of 5,000, so they're more than halfway there. I've had the stream muted in the background through the whole show, but showing some support, and I wanted to get some promotions out there. Also, shout outs to some of our friends, of course, Cypro VTuber, who has helped me out with some of the creating people with Tomodachi Life. Ross says, Angela, since we haven't seen you in a while, did you hear that the voice Professor Utonium passed away last week?
I've seen a lot of news regarding, just voice actors and other celebrities passing away. And you know what? My take on all of it is seeing people pass away, it's sad. Regardless.
It is. And, I want to throw a shout out to one of my best friends who is in the hospital recovering from gallbladder surgery. He went in and had emergency gallbladder surgery, and hopefully he's doing better. He said he should be able to have a full recovery from it, but I found that out last week while I was in a hotel. So I've called him a few times just checking in to make sure he's okay. So lots of craziness and insane stuff going on.
Yep.
But we are just about out of time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. It was great seeing some new faces in the chat. Love all the interaction. Thank you to Darren and Angela for joining us tonight. Until next time, I hope everybody has a safe week. Stay happy, stay healthy out there. Weather's getting warmer, so stay hydrated. And we will see you again for more Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.